Hello and welcome to the Elder Tree podcast. My name is Twiggy Dawn. I'm the founder of the Elder Tree and Alchemilla Herbals, and I reside on Jitterbug land here in far north Queensland. You are listening to the Herbal Education segment, where each new moon I invite a myriad of plant wisdom keepers to chat about the world of herbal education, about their passions and motivations, and their dreams for the future of herbal medicine education in Australia. This podcast is brought to you by the Elder Tree, a non-for-profit organisation whose mission is putting the medicine in the hands of the people. One of the ways that we are doing this is through this podcast. If you would like to go deeper with the podcast journey while supporting the Elder Tree for as little as $2 per week, then you can become a member of our Patreon. Thanks to all of the people and plants who have helped to make this podcast possible.
Hello everyone, I'm Kat Green from Everyday Empowered, and I'm thrilled to be back with you, gracing the airwaves, or whatever we call it in podcast land these days. I'm happy to be filling in for Twiggy. She's tending to some family stuff, so I'm really excited to be back with you. Twiggy does a great job, and all the other presenters of running the Elder Tree podcast, bringing quality herbal content to you every week, and we are just so lucky to have them. So a little shout out to them, to Twiggy and all the other presenters, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Now, as I did last time when I talked about sage, I'm not going to be talking about herbal education. I am just going to educate. I'm going to talk about, this is a bit of a bold claim, but go with me on this because I think chamomile is actually the number one herb we all need to know about in order to be herbalists. Bold? I know. Do I even completely agree with myself? No. If you were in my head, there'd probably be all these other voices arguing with myself about what about yarrow? What about ginger? What about marshmallow? What about all these other amazing, incredible herbs? And the ones I just mentioned are all polycrest herbs. Like they all do, just like chamomile, they all do these amazing array of things. But often I get people calling me, like my friends or my family, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, what should I do for this? And you know what? A lot of times chamomile could be an option for them, not just because it's an amazing herb, but also because it's widely available. Not always in the best quality. I've got to say that right from the start, because chamomile tea bags that you get from the shop is not the same grade as really good quality medicinal chamomile. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, that chamomile is not chamomile, if you know what I mean. But I just think we've really got to embrace it, because the other thing is, whether we're talking to friends and family who aren't herbalists and don't have like a big range of herbs at home, or maybe it's us and we're actually just going on holidays and we need to have access to something quickly to deal with some situation that we didn't foresee, well, chamomile can really come in handy there. And I will just say, now that I heard myself do an I'm sorry, you're going to have to live with me today. We should call this Life with Kat, because I'm not going to edit this podcast. I'm not an editor. Even though I did it a bit in uni, it was not my favorite part at all. And I doubt Twiggy's going to listen to this before it airs. So if she does, thanks for editing, Twiggy. But if she doesn't, we're just going live and going home. Going hard, going home. I don't know what I'm going to say. I am at home. Right. That's what it's going to be. So chamomile, a really important thing before we go any further is just to make sure we're talking about the same plant. So it is Chamomile. It's Matricaria chamomilla or Matricaria recutita, if that's even how you pronounce it. It is it's so weird when you have to say all these words out loud, which I do a lot. And I just have to tell people that's my Australian pronunciation. But is it, or is it just me making stuff up? I don't know. I'm also really into Greek myths with my kids. And I have to Google, like all the time, I've got to Google the names of the Greek goddesses and gods before I read the stories to my kids. Otherwise, they're going to have the wrong pronunciation for life. So maybe you're going to get that with me today here too, but that is okay because we are on fire. So chamomile, it literally just does so much that in everyday life that we need to take care of. And it is gentle and it is safe for everyone, from babies all the way up to elders, but it also kicks a powerful punch. And I think we need to really get rid of this idea that beginner-friendly herbs or safe herbs are not also powerfully effective, amazing herbs. Like, gentle doesn't mean weak. And I kind of want to make us sit down and just repeat that 5 times. Gentle doesn't mean weak. Gentle doesn't mean weak. And just kind of really decondition ourselves from feeling like something needs to have a really big, powerful, immediate effect in order for it to be effective. Because I think so often we we just take for granted the fact that small, gentle nudges, small, tiny shifts, and things that are gentle and small can work and have really big differences in our health. And if anyone has had a really, really stressed day and has then just gone home and sniffed their dog or smelt a flower or taken 3 deep breaths, like, you know exactly what I mean. Like, it can be such a tiny little thing that will bring about an immediate shift in your physiology, going from a state of stress to a state of relaxation. And it doesn't have to be big. Now, not to say that it's always easy to do those things, and that's a whole other conversation. So I'm not going to go down that road today. So we're going to stay firmly focused on chamomile. And I really want you to tell me by the end of this episode, get in touch with me. So I'm Kat Everyday Empowered, everyday.empowered on Instagram, or everydayempowered.com.au if you're going to my website. But come and tell me, do you agree? Is chamomile like the number one herb we should all know? Or do you think it's another herb? Or do you think that no herb should be the number one herb? Because that's just ridiculous. All herbs are amazing and have their place, which I actually agree with too. So I think I'm going to agree with all of you. But let's just roll with this one today. Because chamomile has been used like continuously for thousands of years. It was first recorded back in 1550 BCE in an Egyptian papyrus. It's been mentioned ever since then. So it's got a long historical lineage, which a lot of our herbs do, which is just really, really cool to be this link in the chain, from like thousands of years ago on a different continent to here where we are today to hopefully 3,000 years in the future. And we get to play this small little part in living and breathing this knowledge today and being able to pass that forward in the way that we work with the plants. So one of the reasons I think that chamomile is so amazing to know at home, aside from all the things I've already talked about, is the fact that it's just got so many practical uses. So I'm going to talk about it in 5 broad categories today. So we've got digestive, nervous system, kids issues, women, female reproductive system, and topical, so on the skin. And I'm not actually sure how to see how long I've been recording. I don't know how long it's been. Oh, it's been 6 minutes. I just want to make sure that I'm not going too long. I won't go too long because it's just me today. But I can teach for chamomile for like an hour. So we won't go that deep today. We'll keep it pretty, I was going to say light, but it's not light because it's still going to be thorough. So chamomile, let's see. There's kind of 3 key patterns. Oh, before I get into that, I really want to give you an image that really defines my relationship with chamomile and how I think of it. Now, every herbalist you talk to will have a different understanding or image that they really think about herbs, like understanding their core patterns and essence. And that is one of the reasons I love herbalism, because you never know it all. You never are at a stage where you go, oh, I'm done. I don't need to learn anything else, because you are always learning from other herbalists, from their approach and relationship with the herbs, from how they use it, from the people they meet and the situations that they're dealing with it. And that is just such a cool meeting place where we all bring something to the table and we all bring something to offer. And so in the way that I understand chamomile, I really like to think of her. I have this image of like a sunny golden haired child, twirling happily in kind of like a wildflower meadow. And then maybe like a kid comes into the meadow and this kid is having trouble in some way, like they're having trouble sharing their toy, or they have a sore tummy, or they just have a meltdown because they're really overtired and they're completely and utterly swept up in whatever's the trouble with them. And chamomile, she's just this sweetheart little golden goddess, and she just comes in and she helps to remove the issue. And then the innate sunniness of the child returns. So at the heart of this is the idea that we are innately happy creatures. We are designed to be sunshiny and content and joyous. And then things come up that get in the way and block that innate nature of contentment and happiness. And chamomile, one of her gifts to us is that she can just help us remove some of the barriers that get in the way of happiness. And so that's kind of really how I like to think of her. And in daily life, she removes a lot of barriers for us. So we're going to be looking at her with the different organ systems and how she works to support us like that. There's a few things that we really want to know about her. And it's going to come up again and again as we go. But one is that she is just a really great inflammation modulator or anti-inflammatory herb. So that's one of her really key strengths there. She's got affinities for common issues that come up that we want to care for as herbalists. And she's got these nervine relaxant properties. And that's a big part of how she's going to work in the different areas. But there's other ones as well. And so, yeah, let's dive in. let's take a look at how she's going to support us from a digestive system point of view. I hope I'm not talking too fast, by the way. It's just me by myself right now, and I tend to talk fast. I get excited about things. You can give me feedback about that. You can give me feedback about anything. I really do see that, even though I'm talking maybe a little bit too fast right now. I see that this is a conversation between both of us, and you are there laughing at me on the other side of this podcast, and we're just having fun hanging out together. So I've already said it, but just get in touch and tell me what you think about it. I love this conversation and back and forth. So as to chamomile, she is great in the digestive system. It's one of her key affinities, and she has a range of actions that all support the digestive system, which I think when actions build up on top of each other, like you've got Jenga blocks and you're making a Jenga tower, and you kind of know then you're going to have a really good tower. And in chamomile's case, she's going to have a really broad spectrum range of actions and a lot of affinity for the digestive system. So one of the ways she helps is that she is a carminative herb. She is increasing blood flow. She is having an antispasmodic action in the gut. She's increasing blood flow. So she's going to help soothe tension, relieve gas, help peristalsis, all these kind of things that carminative do. She's also a bitter herb. Now, if you brew chamomile for 2 minutes, you'll make a sweet tasting brew. But if you brew chamomile for 20 minutes, you'll have quite a bitter brew. And that bitterness, that taste of chamomile actually gives us a really important clue as to its medicine. And for those who've heard me teach before, you know that I talk a lot about herbal tastes. I think especially for home herbalists, but for all herbalists really, taste is just such an instantaneous and direct way that we can get to know our medicine. We don't need to read about studies. We don't need to know about all the chemical constituents that make it up, but we know because we can taste it and have that experience ourselves. And in chamomile, we know that she's going to be doing a lot in the body because she does have quite complex tastes. At the first, you're going to have that aromatic hit that kind of hits you first, and that sweetness. And then the longer you steep her for, the more you are going to be getting that bitter property coming out. Now, in the digestive system, bitter herbs help to stimulate the digestive system. They stimulate secretions all the way through. They stimulate all kinds of processes that are needed for optimal absorption of food, for breakdown of food and absorption. So they can be a really, really important aspect and aspect of herbs to work with when we want to improve digestive health, particularly if someone has got low appetite or they just generally have got, low digestive power. They can be a really nice support there for a range of issues. And so if you really want to work with chamomile for that digestive support, that bitter, you want to be making sure you're working with her in a way that bitterness comes out. So sometimes, depending on how you tincture it, that bitterness can come through the tincture. Fresh plant tinctures are probably going to capture more of the aromatic. So you just have to taste your tincture and know what you've got in it. But having a really long steeped tea can be really helpful as well before meals. And you can take it afterwards as well. But I always think if you want to stimulate digestion, to have it at the start of meals. This bitter quality has also got, and the carminative as well, there's an antispasmodic nature to chamomile that really is helpful in the digestive system, especially if there's a lot of cramping. As we already said before, she's got these nerving relaxant properties. Now, if we can't actually digest our food well when we are in a stress state. We have to be in a parasympathetic rest and digest state. And so chamomile is going to help us if we have a tea before meals or have her as part of a bitter blend before meals. She is going to be helping to help us switch over to this rest and digest state. And that's kind of one of the way, and that's another way we can work with chamomile is by having this really nice do you have nervous digestion? So if you tend to not digest your food well when you are stressed or upset or worried or angry or any of these kind of more flight or fight sympathetic dominant states, then chamomile can help shift you over to rest and digest, and then you can actually digest your food more easily. Now, a lot of herbs can help us do that. Lemon balm is another one. Catnip is another one. And so you could work with them all as a blend, or you could also just kind of figure out which one might be right for you, because some people might find that catnip is actually a better match for their symptoms or their core essence and pattern that's going on in their body, because we always want to remember that herbs don't just do one thing. Herbs do lots of things. And so if we can have a look at not just like symptom by symptom by symptom and thinking that you need a herb for each symptom, if we can have a look at the body and the person as a whole and think, well, I've got this going on and I've got this going on and I've got this going on, and we can maybe see a herb that matches not just the symptom individually, but the pattern of symptoms as a whole. And that can be a really good way to start thinking about herbs and about matching them to the body. Because otherwise, if you look at the herb books and you go, oh my God, this like 20 herbs that can be supportive for the digestive system and supportive for gas or bloating or whatever your issue is, like, how do you pick? And you don't just want to kind of go eeny, meeny, miny, mo and just go with that one, because it's not always, it can work for sure. The herbs are pretty amazing, but it's not always going to be the most effective way of working. And to be honest, it could be a really expensive way of working, or it could be a way of not despairing, but you're giving up hope because you're like, oh, I tried herbs that don't really work. Like it could really be a way of just giving up. But really what we want to do is we want to come back to having a little bit more skill, a little bit more nuance, and a little bit more specificity around why we're choosing the herbs we're choosing. And chamomile, I think, and digestive system herbs are definitely like that. I think that chamomile is amazing. It's amazing in a blend, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the herb for everyone. But going back to what I said at the start about how it's like the number one herb we should all know, in that light, if you are out, or your sister-in-law's brother's ex-husband's wife, I don't really know where that's going, but if someone random calls you and they have digestive support, you could definitely recommend chamomile as an easy, widely available go-to for them. So chamomile, okay, as we've already spoken about, she's a great anti-inflammatory, and chamomile has actually got wound healing vulnerary actions, which a lot of people think that's useful when it comes to wound care on top of the skin, but that can be really, really supportive in the digestive system as well. So the digestive system is essentially like our inner skin. Um, yeah, anyway, I won't go off on my full explanation right now, but we can think of it like an internal skin, and that's essentially what it is. And so if there are ulcers, if you have got just kind of like irritation or damage from digestive issues, whether that is constipation or whether that has been diarrhea or whether it's one of the inflammatory GI conditions, then chamomile can be a really great coming in to help actually heal the tissues lining the digestive system and, help sedate heat and irritation that comes along with that inflammatory state. So she's really great. She's also got some mild antimicrobial properties. And as we've just spoken about, that is a lot of actions that can be supportive in the digestive system. Like, I honestly think she is a really, really great herb to have in lots and lots of blends. And she's widely available. I'm probably going to say that a lot because she is. Although if you want to do an experiment, it can be great to get like a supermarket packet of chamomile, like, I don't know, a store or something, and cut it open and see the quality of the herb inside, because it's not always the best. And so what I actually do is I make my own chamomile tea bags if I'm going traveling. It's easier to take than loose leaf. And so I've just gotten some little unbleached paper tea bags, and I just put my great medicinal grade chamomile in there and I take them with me. And then I know I've got support for a range of things, which we're going to get to soon. And but you can also tell people, if you're working with other people, to just get the best quality chamomile that they can. Okay, so that's kind of why chamomile is supportive to the digestive system. She's certainly one to think about. We've already kind of spoken about it, but chamomile has also got an affinity for the nervous system. So she's going to be supportive in a range of situations with the nervous system, all kinds of excess heat and agitation. So whether we are talking about restlessness, anxiety, stress, irritation, fussiness, frustration, you can think about a great image to have in your mind here is babies. When they're just having one of those days where they're just fretful and irritated, and they're just kind of like whining, or they're clinging onto you and they won't let go. Well, that's kind of what we can think about. A lot of people talk about chamomile as being for babies of any age. So anyone who is kind of fretting or stressing, I think I didn't train with Dorothy Hall, and I haven't really trained under anyone who has. But I think Dorothy Hall's picture person for chamomile, oh my gosh, I'm totally just going blank. I can like picture it in my head. Now I'm going blank. It's probably would have been better if I was editing this. Oh, okay. So I think it was something about how it's people who need to have like verbal diarrhea and then not like me right now. That's a different type of verbal diarrhea. But it's people who need to relive over their day twice. So they live it over the first time and then they kind of need to really come home and vent and complain and just dwell and live it over twice. So anyone who studied with Dorothy Hall, please feel free to jump on and correct me and put that in more elegant terms than what my mind blank is allowing me to come up with right now. But I think you kind of get the picture that it is that kind of someone who's just stewing in their own juices and someone who is just fretting. Not in the same way that I would say passion flower or skull cut people need, it's kind of a different energy than that picture. But this is again why when we understand herbs holistically, we can really start thinking about them in their broader, psychosocial context and the pattern of how everything they have going on works together. But there are clinical trials that show chamomile can be supportive for generalized anxiety disorder. We've already spoken about how chamomile is useful for nervous digestion. We can make chamomile into a great herb for sleep. Now, the way I think about chamomile and sleep is that it's not a nervine hypnotic, it's a nervine relaxant. So it is going to be relaxing to you, but it is not sedating. It's not going to put you to sleep. So if you have chamomile tea during the day and it does make you really sleepy, the way I think about it is that you're actually just really tired. And now chamomile has relaxed you enough to make you feel how tired you are, and that will help you to get to sleep. It's not that chamomile itself is like hitting you with a sledgehammer saying, go to sleep now, go to sleep. It's not forcing you in any particular direction, but in helping you unwind and helping you relax, it's helping you to settle into your body and to be like, oh, I'm really tired. And so chamomile can be a really great herb for sleep in that way. It can help you just unwind and relax a little bit. If you do take chamomile tea during the day and it does make you super sleepy and you prefer to not work with it, well, it might also be a great moment to pause and go, why am I so tired? Am I sleeping well? Am I doing too much? Am I stressed? Am I, whatever else? Do I have some other health conditions going on that might be making me extra fatigued? Like, how's my nervous system going? So chamomile is that invitation, all herbs are that invitation to have that deeper relationship and self-inquiry so that we can understand ourselves and our patterns and what's going on. But chamomile can go really well with other herbs for sleep. And the herbs you choose are obviously going to be herbs that match your pattern. So some people can't sleep because of stress and the way the cortisol is working in their body. Some people can't sleep because their mind is really just switched on and can't switch off. So other people might not be able to sleep because of pain or musculoskeletal pain and stuff like that. So you kind of want to choose the herbs in that pattern and use chamomile in a blend that's going to help with that. Now, one of the ways that I have worked with chamomile in that, it's not really related to digestion, but I just was thinking about it because it's related to sleep, was that one of my kids had really bad growing pains for a while. And I literally over months tried everything, like honestly, everything you could think of. I was getting super, super desperate because nothing was really bringing her relief until we worked with a very, very strong bitter chamomile tea. And it was just such a good antispasmodic for growing pains. And I know other people who've worked with chamomile to be a really, really great antispasmodic for like cramping gut issues, which would have been in the digestive system, or really cramping period pains, which I guess we're going to get to next. I'm kind of jumping all over the place now, now that I'm really highlighting chamomile's antispasmodic, qualities. But she is, when it's brewed strong and brewed bitter, chamomile is a great antispasmodic. And so don't discount that part of chamomile as being super supportive in a range of scenarios that commonly you don't think of. Like, I've never heard anyone else ever talk about using chamomile for growing pains. But for us, it was just amazing, which is why I like to share that. And again, why I think chamomile could potentially be number one herb that we should all know and use about at home. Because, it's just got these juices that you wouldn't think about. All right, so far we've spoken about chamomile and how she supports the digestive system. We've also spoken about chamomile and how she supports the nervous system. I've had a little side tangent covering different bases on the antispasmodic quality of chamomile as well. And, I think it's just so important that we talk about kids. Chamomile, Peter Rabbit's mom kind of made chamomile this quintessential kids herb, and she's not wrong. Like, she's so on the money with it because chamomile is safe. unless you have an Asteraceae family allergy. Like, that's the disclaimer here for chamomile. If you're allergic to that family of plants, chamomiles might not be the plant for you. So definitely either don't work with it or test it in that situation. But babies have just got a lot of these issues that come up that chamomile can be supportive of. So in the nervous system, there's that irritability, that fussiness, that fretfulness, meltdowns, overtiredness. Like, chamomile can be really supportive there, either by itself or in blends with, say, catnip or lemon balm. You might put it with a little bit of linden. So in the digestive system, colic is a common experience of digestive upset for babies, and there's clinical trials showing that chamomile can be supportive used topically. So I haven't tried that, but one of my friends did and found it really supportive. You can also use that internally as well. Chamomile can be great for teething. So if you make a nice strong tea, or maybe not too strong that it's bitter, but mid-range. So just make a tea and then soak a washcloth in it, and then you can put that in the freezer, and your baby can chew on that frozen washcloth and get a little bit of the benefit of the cold, of the roughage, and then also from the chamomile as well. And not just kid specific, but for anyone really, chamomile can be supportive of oral health anyway. It can be used in a mouth rinse for gingivitis or bleeding gums or ulcers in the mouth, things like that. You can again use it alone, or you might want to pair it with sage, or if it's more serious gingivitis, you might want to put some myrrh tincture in there, and dilute that in the chamomile tea. So there's actually heaps of herbs you can use to be part of an oral mouth rinse. That can be a really nice way to support that, because as more and more evidence is coming out and being shared more widely with people, we really know that the health of the mouth is so intertwined with the health of the whole body, the cardiovascular system, the brain, the gut. There can be a lot of connections between the two. So we do really want to take mouth infections, and just like that, if you've got a low-grade infection in your mouth, that actually adds overall to the inflammatory load of the body. And so we do really want to it might be common to have bleeding gums or to have, these low-grade mouth things going on, but we want to treat them preventatively, or not even preventatively really, but we want to treat them as an issue like they are, rather than just normalizing it and say, oh, everyone's got that. Not that we want to go the other way and freak out about it either. I'm getting older. I definitely am getting older, and I find myself being more and more cliched with the things that I say. And I'm definitely coming to this middle path, like not that extreme on that left, not that extreme on the right, but just in the middle. That's kind of the middle road. So with terms of kids, but for adults as well, chamomile can be great for conjunctivitis and eye issues. I've personally used a chamomile eye bright wash when I scratched my eyeball, and chamomile was really supportive there. But you can also use chamomile tea, or just the whole tea bag and pop it on the eye if you've got conjunctivitis. I'd also maybe pair it with echinacea tincture or something else to support the immune system as well. So it can be just, and like that's again. I got to come back to my theme. Chamomile, the number one plant we should all know, because it's just got a range of these herbal first aid uses. Like, you never know when someone's going to get conjunctivitis, and it might be you far away from home, or it might be your friend or family, and chamomile is just a herb that you can turn to that's widely available. You can also use chamomile in a steam. So for kids or for adults as well, you can use it in a steam for colds and flu, for sinus issues. I don't particularly find it as effective as like a eucalyptus steam, or maybe a thyme steam, in terms of like really opening up the nasal passages and opening up that kind of capacity to breathe in the lungs and expectorate up the phlegm and the mucus and stuff. But depending on how often you're steaming, you don't always want to have that really strong, pungent action that you're going to get, or effect that you're going to get from the thyme and the eucalyptus. So sometimes you might want to, because that can be irritating to the respiratory system. And so that can be a really nice time to use chamomile to kind of still be doing a herbal steam, but kind of just making it a little bit gentler and a little bit less irritating to the respiratory system. And that might be particularly if you've got a lot of dryness in the system and you're trying to increase moisture in the respiratory system, rather than being really stuffed up, and congested and trying to get stuff out, because you don't always want the added heat from the thyme, for example. So that can just be a really beautiful way to do that. If you're doing it with kids, you can do it under a blanket all together. You can make a little tent under a table. You can do it in the bathroom, close the door. I mean, you still need to contain it a little bit, so that might not quite work. But you kind of, herbal steams can be a really great thing to do with kids and as a family, and maybe chamomile's a little bit more gentle than some of the other ones. So let's all be like Peter Rabbit's mom and dose everyone up with a beautiful cup of chamomile tea. So I've already kind of talked about this, but chamomile can be really, really supportive in the female reproductive system. It can be great with period pain, but brewed really strong and bitter to really draw out that antispasmodic quality. It can be used for amenorrhea and other kind of if you have a lot of PMS, then there might be chamomile might be in the mix. It might not be. There's lots of other herbs you could work with. And again, that comes back to the whole person, but it does have a role to play there. It can be a really good support postpartum, and pregnancy with that nervine support, and postpartum. It could be used in a sitz bath situation to help heal, vaginal tears and just kind of like insult to the area, and also mastitis and cracked nipples. You could either make a compress of a chamomile tea, or you could, I'm just thinking cracked nipples, you could maybe make an infused oil, but definitely apply that after bub's fed. So it's got a few uses there to think about. And topically, the last kind of one that I really want to talk about is chamomile can be great for wounds and inflammatory skin conditions. So you can make it as a compress, you can infuse it into an oil, you can do maybe a hydrosol, which I haven't worked with personally, but if you have, let me know how you found it. So chamomile can just be really great supportive. Like, it's got that wound healing property, it's got the anti-inflammatory property, it's got some of the antimicrobial components. It can be really great to do that. Again, it's probably not my number one herb that I would think of for first aid. Like, I'd be thinking about yarrow or calendula or plantain or, comfrey if it was more of the musculoskeletal broken bone situation going on. But definitely chamomile's got a place in that. And sometimes I think we just pigeonhole and limit our thinking about herbs. But really, if you want to use what you've got available, or if you want to just, I don't know, work with amazing herbs in different ways and have different combinations, then chamomile is definitely one to think about for wounds and wound healing, inflammatory skin issues as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about chamomile. Do you agree with me yet? Do you think we should all really know chamomile well and be recommending it and know how to use it? Because it's kind of so common, I think we can take it for granted and just be like, oh, chamomile, whatever. I don't need to learn that herb very well. Or, oh my gosh, that's only for beginners. Like, I'm totally onto the advanced stuff. But it's not like that at all. It's just such an amazing herb. Having said that, I don't know if I said this at the start. It was like half an hour ago, I don't remember. It's not my favorite herb, which, after talking to you for half an hour about chamomile, I feel kind of funny saying that. But I don't want to ever live my life without chamomile. Like, it is one of the herbs I always want to have in my home, because you never know when you're going to need it, and she can just be so supportive in such a variety of ways. But I don't know if she's my favorite. And I'm looking off into the distance, like there's somehow an answer out there about whether she is or not. But I don't think that answer is going to be forthcoming, and I don't want to leave too much dead space in the podcast while I just sit and reflect to myself. So I might do that when I stop recording. And really, I don't know why she's not my favorite, because she's such a cool herb. All right. Anyway, so a quick recap, because we have covered a lot of information very fast. And I haven't gone too much in depth. It's been a bit of a high level review, but we have spoken about chamomile for the digestive system, for the nervous system, for a range of uses for kids, for the female reproductive system, and topically for wound care and just skin, inflammatory skin conditions as well, like rosacea or psoriasis and things like that, which I didn't really get into. I'm just mentioning that now. Which is not really a great summary when you're introducing new words in the summary. But hey, we're just going to ignore that for now and roll with it, because this is where we're at today. So there's a bit of other information that I'm not going to go into right now about how to grow her, how to work with her as a remedy, the energetics and taste. We've already spoken a little bit about taste being really complex. Okay, fine, I will. The energetics are cooling and drying. She has got, I haven't actually distilled, I don't do distillation for essential oils. But because some of her volatile oils are azulene and camazulene, she's got a blue essential oil, which is just so cool. Nature, honestly, blows my mind. Like, who on earth would ever look at chamomile with her pretty little feathery leaves and her, sunshiny and yellow, white flowers, and just be like, you've got blue essential oil in there? Like, oh my gosh, it is just so cool. Plants always blow me away. They're amazing. Anyway, so if you want to go and Google Chamomile's essential oil. You'll see this gorgeous blue color. And yeah, I think that's probably all I have to say about chamomile for now. Like I said before, like I've been saying the whole way through, please hit me back. Is chamomile the number one herb we should all know or not? Do you have another one? Could you rave about another one that is as multi-purpose as chamomile for the everyday issues that home herbalists need to use it for? Or, the travelers or the friends and families or whatever it is we're talking about. I think she's pretty cool. And if you're not already inspired to, go and try making a remedy with her. Like, she's a wonderful tea. She is so great in so many different tea blends. One of my favorite blends, actually, for chamomile, honestly, is this gut healing tea blend. A couple of my teachers have all taught this blend, and so it's just one of my favorites. It has got chamomile, peppermint, fennel, licorice, calendula, and plantain, and that has got a whole range of actions to support as a blend. They've got a whole range of actions to support gut healing, and it's just delicious. I use it in equal parts at the moment. Sometimes the licorice can be used in a smaller part, like maybe half a part compared to the others, but at the moment I'm really enjoying the licorice. So I'm just using them all in equal parts, and oh my gosh, it is just so supportive and so delicious. And you can easily drink a liter of that a day when you are wanting to heal the gut. And it's, we often do, like, we think, oh, sometimes I don't know. I won't get into this whole discussion about pigeonholing gut healing herbs, but so I think commonly enough we don't heal the gut. Like, if you've had a bout of diarrhea or a bout of constipation or other issues that are going on with the gut, we don't think that there's actually like a lot of damage that can happen in the GI tract from diarrhea or constipation, and then a bout of gut healing herbs, whether it's that blend or some of the blend or other herbs, it can be really supportive to just make sure that we're repairing these little micro abrasions that happen through some issues in the digestive system. So go make that tea. It's delicious. Honestly, you'll thank me. Or maybe go make a chamomile glycerite. Chamomile actually is a really nice glycerite for kids. Glycerites can be a little bit sweet, or glycetrax, whatever you want to say them. Is glycerite the American word? I don't even know why I said that. I always call them glycetrax. Honestly, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth next. But we're firmly being Australian today, so we better say glycetrax. It's probably because I've got written glycerite. I was reading it before. Okay, chamomile. Oh, I love to put it in bath blends. So if you're making bath salts, you can put some different herbs like roses, lavender, chamomile. It can be really beautiful, not just for its kind of nerving qualities as you smell the aromatics of chamomile, but it can also be used, you can bathe in it. If you've got musculoskeletal spasm and tension, then you can maybe have a really strong chamomile tea in a bath. But if you're using it with bath salts, you could also it's great for its wound healing and kind of skin supportive benefits as well. You can make it into an oil, a compress, a wash. There's just so many ways to make chamomile into medicine. And I keep thinking I'm done talking about it. Wasn't it like 5 or 10 minutes ago? I was like, okay, I think that's me for chamomile. And here I am still talking about it. Gosh, I love her. Okay, I do love her. I don't know if she's a favorite, but I love her. Okay, this has been a wonderful chat. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think. Twiggy, I hope everything is wonderful with you and you have enjoyed some extra time with your family, tending to family stuff. For everyone else who is a regular Elder Tree listener, Twiggy will be back with you next month, and I'm sure you will enjoy having her back on the airwaves. But I will talk to you again soon. And any questions, anything else I missed, any comments or feedback, you know where I am. Everyday empowered. All right, thanks. I think I did this last time. I actually get to the end of the podcast and I have no idea how I'm supposed to sign off. And it feels really awkward to like not have some kind of way of closure and to just be like, see ya, and like I'll be out of here. So I will just have to say that though, because that's what I'm going to do. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this, and enjoy building your own deeper relationship with chamomile and the herbs in this world. And I really hope that this segment today, this rambling chat about chamomile, has inspired you or grounded you or just helped you to connect more deeply with, the essence in you that wants to be working with these plants, or, the reverence we have for the natural world. There's many, many things that hopefully you've been able to get out of this chat today, and I will see you soon.
Thank you so much for listening to the Herbal Education segment of the Elder Tree podcast. Stay tuned every new moon as I interview more wise and inspiring herbal educators and herbal lore keepers from around Australia. If you would like to go deeper with the podcast journey, you can become a member of the Elder Tree Trove on Patreon. Contribute as little as $2 per week to access free content from our interviewees and also access discount codes and opportunities which are exclusive to our members. You can find us on Patreon by going to www.patreon.com/theeldertree. Other ways that you can assist us in getting our offerings out there to more people in Australia is by subscribing and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and on the Spotify app. Also, liking, commenting on and sharing our social media posts actually has a really positive impact and helps us to reach further with the message from all of the amazing herbal lore keepers that we interview on this podcast. Thank you so much for your support and have a most wonderful day.